Thanks for joining me on Profit with a Plan podcast. This is where you get some great ideas to create your most profitable self and small business. Just so you know, financial planning isn't only for those that have a lot of money or run big companies. A workable financial plan is for us everyday small business owners and professionals that want to keep more of our hard-earned money and make great financial decisions. So join me, Marcia, your certified financial planner and professional financial strategist, each Tuesday evening for smart ideas that can add to more profits to your bottom line. At my business, Bella Financial Group, we help small business owners and professionals every day with sound financial strategies that increase their profits. If you're following me each week, I'd like to say thank you. Reach out to me for a free 30-minute strategy session at Bella Financial Group or on my scheduling app at calendly.com/Marcia-16. So let's get on with today's podcast. It's called Break It On Down, Your Goals. Goals in any type of money planning are essential for increasing your profits. So what are the purpose of goals? Goals are to provide you a direction to go in. So to put it in an analogy, when you get in a car, you need to know where you're going, the end point of your going, so you know how to get there, right? So the goal is the end point. So say you want to go to, I'm in Southern California, say you want to go to Vegas. You know, you got to leave the valley and you've got to go out on the 15 and, it's going to take you, depending who's driving, 3.5 hours to get there, 4 hours to get there. So you know what all the moving parts are, but your end goal is Vegas. Just an example. So it's important that you know that the purpose of the goals are to provide you a direction to go in. Also, to motivate you and to move you in that direction. So, to continue on with the driving to Vegas analogy, why are you going to Vegas? Do you have a girlfriend's weekend? Are you going for relaxation? Are you going for a meeting? Why are you going? And why is it important? So what's motivating you to get to that goal? So as in a business example, you're going to increase your income this year by 20%. What does that really mean? Well, obviously you're going to make more money, but is there a reason you want to make more money? Is it because you want to find extra money to pay down debt, to put your daughter in ballet school, to grow your practice, to hire another an employee, or maybe to expand? What is the motivation behind increasing your profits by 20% more than just making more money? There's the what does that money do for you type of motivation that is so important when you're putting goals together for you. So the other thing that the purpose of goals does for you is it achieves many wins along the way. In order to feel successful and financially profitable, it's always great to have wins. They keep you excited. They keep you feeling like you're achieving something. So if you put goals together and possibly if you put them in a shorter range rather than just a big gigantic range, you're going to start to feel momentum. You're going to feel more successful. Your shoulders are going to go back. You're going to go into that next client meeting and you're going to go, I got this because I had it before. And you're going to feel those successes and those wins along the way that will in turn help motivate you to continue on to that big goal of I'm going to increase my business by 20% this year, which realistically is a pretty good goal, pretty big goal. So the purpose of those goals are really to provide you that direction, to motivate you along the way, and to give you little wins and successes to keep you moving towards that goal. So why are goals so important? Number one, what is your motivation behind that goal? We talked about it just a few seconds ago. Is it that you want to prove to somebody that you can do it? Is it that you want to have your name in lights? Is it that you want to be known as the expert in your field? Is it that you want more clients? Is it that you want more money? We all want more money, but what is that motivation? And that's what makes the goal have legs or roots that will make that goal that much more important to you and will allow you to keep pushing through when times get hard, because you know that there's a reason behind that goal, and it's not just the number or the picture or the event that happens. There's a heartfelt emotional reason behind that goal. So when you're putting your goals together, it is really important to have that reason why you're going after that goal. The other important part to goals is there's always going to be a risk when you try to do something that is outside of your comfort zone. If you can imagine a circle, the circle is your comfort zone, but what you do outside of that is uncomfortable, and therefore there's a risk involved with it. So many of us just say, oh, well, I'm going to try, to achieve that goal. But what's the risk if you don't achieve that goal? Something to think about. So if you don't achieve that goal, what would happen? What would happen to the company? What would happen to your lifestyle? What would happen to your family if you didn't achieve that goal? And the flip side of it is, what if you put the risk in it that it was enough to make you scary or scared or fearful of it, but not enough to maybe necessarily bring the whole house down? So risk is always going to be there, but you have to think about why it's so important if you don't achieve that goal. So if you don't increase your business by 20% this year, what happens? Can you still keep that going? Well, yeah, probably. But will you evolve? Will you be able to move forward? What if you only got 15%? Still a pretty good goal. But what if you didn't? What if you went down 5%? So these goals, you got to understand what the risk is for it and the motivation. The other important part of what goals do for you is they keep you on track. So as I use that analogy of driving to Vegas or making a 20% increase in your business, if you have goals in place, they let you know that you're winning, that you're moving forward, that it's not September and December and you're trying to wrap up the goal, so you're stretching and putting everything in it. You've done little things along the way to keep you on track for that goal. Here's another analogy. So imagine having a goal of losing 30 pounds. You didn't gain the 30 pounds overnight. You're sure not going to lose those 30 pounds overnight. So if we set little pieces or little goals for you to get there, you'll see that you're getting closer and you're on track, and you're, a week away and you've got 3 more pounds, or you're 3 months away and you've already achieved 10 or 15% growth in your company, and it's just the final stretch, and you've done all the steps that will get you there, and you know that you're going to achieve your goal because you've done all these pieces on track. That's what goals are for. They're motivational. They let you know there's a risk of what happens if it doesn't, and it keeps you on track. So let me ask you something. What's your goal for your business, or goals for your business? Have you thought about them lately? I know right now for me, it's January, and I did my business plan or worked on my business plan over the holidays and tried to get it in position, and it flowed over till January, and I put some pieces in play, and it really gave me focus. But when you have your goals, you must absolutely write them down. It is really the plan for what you want to achieve. So in planning, as I said in the beginning, it's essential to have goals. How you work those goals is you start them up by writing them down. And this is really how you can focus on where you're going. So you can see how everything's tying together, right? So I follow a gentleman online that I think has an amazing strategy, and for the life of me right now, I can't remember his name. But what he said was long-term goals are fabulous. You can have these great, gigantic goals. If everything lined up in my next program or my next event, I had 150 people there and I made 30,000 out of the event, whatever that goal is. If you have big, huge goals, they're wonderful. But really, truly, what people have is they start focusing on the fact that they need to have smaller, more achievable goals. And what he focuses on is he focuses on the short-term goal. That if you did everything in maybe a 90-day window, you'd have time to make adjustments and corrections along the way and find out that if this process or this procedure or this direction that you're making the goal on wasn't necessarily right, you'd have time to correct. So I take that a little bit further. What if you had a goal that went 90 days and you had several quarter goals to make it to the big goal, right? But then you broke that 90-day goal down into a 30-day goal, and you had 3 30-day goals that would help you achieve that 90-day goal. And then you broke that 30-day goal down into a weekly goal or even a daily goal. All of these goals can lead into the bigger goal, but they're achievable. And as I said earlier, you start to get wins along the way and you're like, yeah, I did that. I'm cool. I'm moving towards it. I'm more successful. I added one more client to my book of business that I didn't realize I was going to have. Or my marketing plan I did yielded me 5 more clients or 10 more prospects that I turned 2 more clients into. Whatever it is, if you have little goals that all transition into the bigger goals, you're going to see how they start to provide momentum and moving towards that big goal. So I'd like to suggest that you take the big goal, you break it into smaller pieces, and you keep breaking it on down to maybe a day or a weekly goal for you. And then most importantly, have goals for everything. Marketing goals, client acquisition goals, financial goals that we're going to produce a certain dollar amount. You're going to have employee goals. You're going to have client satisfaction goals. You're going to have debt repayment goals. You're going to have profitability goals. You're going to have expense reduction goals. Everything in your business evolves around money, and all of that money should have goals around it. When I put, as we spoke about last week, when I put my marketing money to work, what is the rate of return I'm going to get? Did I achieve that? That's a goal. That's a success piece on it. And if I didn't achieve it, what am I doing or what can I do better? See, these are tweaks that you can make to these goals if you do them short enough. What tweak can I do to make sure that I can achieve that next time? And if it's not achievable, then I adjust my goal and then I live with the repercussions of adjusting it. But see, that's why your goals are so important and that you have to have goals for everything in your business. So let's hit on how you tackle goals. We talked about it a little bit, and you absolutely got to write them down. Put them someplace, post them in your mirror every morning as you're getting ready. Hang them on your computer screen. Put it on a mouse pad. Post it someplace in eyesight so you know that that's a goal. And then do one step further. Dedicate to the world, to your friends, to your spouse, to your tribe. Dedicate that you're going to do that goal. So make a statement out there that I am going to achieve a 20% increase in my business. I am going to increase my client retention by this. I'm going to attract new clients, and I'm going to have 10 more client strategies or client appointments where I'm going to bring them, prospect appointments where I'm going to bring them in, and instead of converting 2, I'm going to convert 3. Whatever that is, you have to put it out there and tell everybody what your intention is. That way, you say it, and now you're a little bit accountable for it, right? The next step you want to do is when you create that goal, is you want to work backwards with necessary action steps. Just putting it out there will not make it happen. You have to act. So in putting action steps together in that 90-day goal, or better yet, the example of doing the year goal and then breaking it into 3 or 4 90-day goals, and then 3 months, and then monthly goals, and then 4 weekly goals, and then 5 daily goals. This is all steps that you can do that's going to help you achieve that bigger goal. Then, as my dear friend Vaughn told me last week, which was take one step and it leads to 1,000, right? So it's that first step, then the second step, then the third step. Did you know, or maybe you remember, that any kind of habit takes about 90 days to create the habit? You have to do it on repetition. So if you start focusing on that goal, that could be a new habit that you're creating. Just like you're quitting smoking, or you're changing your eating habits, or you're exercising more. It's a struggle to get past the first period of time, but once you start focusing on that goal and you start getting into the rhythm of that, it's going to be easier to achieve. I suggest that you create an accountability partner. And that accountability partner is not just going to be your cheerleader and go, right on, Marcia, you did that. That's great. I'm happy you made that extra call, or you did that marketing piece, or you cut those expenses, or you paid off that bill. Whatever it is that you did, you can have someone that's going to be your cheerleader, but make that person also your repercussion if you don't achieve that goal. So what happens is a lot of times when you're doing something, many folks don't respond as well to the motivation of the carrot hanging in front of them. Oh, I'm going to increase my practice by 20%. But what they do respond to is the hot, sharp, burning poker that's going to poke them in the behind if they don't. So many people respond better to what happens if you don't. So with that accountability, beyond having the high five and cheerleading, set something that's rather painful. That if you don't achieve the next marketing campaign increases this much, or if you don't make those extra client calls, or you don't achieve the shorter term goal that says I'm going to be on track to increase my business by 20%, that you have to do something painful. Maybe it's you're going to pay somebody, if I don't do this, I'm going to pay you $5,000, Hell, I don't want to give somebody $5,000, so I'm going to work a little harder for that goal. What if it was something like, if you don't want to pay something, but you're trying to run and you're not a runner and you've never run this far before, but you're going to say, I'm going to run 10 miles if I don't do this. I'm going to not have dessert for a month, or in my case, my goodness, I'm not going to have a glass of wine each night for the next month if I don't achieve this goal. whatever your enjoyment is, or that you can take away, or you can make it painful, that's what an accountability partner is more powerful with, rather than just cheerleading, but something of what happens if you don't do it. See, it's a pretty good idea, right? Then finally, when you do achieve that goal, and I hope you're setting little goals, that you reward yourself. Set something that is nice for you and only you, or maybe if your spouse is going through the troubles with you, that you reward both you and your spouse. For me, maybe it's a pedicure. Maybe it's a day on the slopes to go snowboarding. Maybe it's a new gadget that I need. Make something, hang that carrot in front of you beyond the actual goal, and reward yourself when you do the hard work. Maybe you've set a weekly goal of having, contacting 50 new contacts, right? Or reaching out to 50 new, and you did it and completed it by Friday at lunch. Take the afternoon off. Isn't that a nice reward? So as you can see, goals are important. Goals are really, again, essential for increasing your profits. You've got to know the purpose of the goal. You've got to understand why that goal is important for you. You've got to understand what the time strategy is and how those goals are working for your business. And then you've got to understand how to tackle those goals. So I hope these goals are something that are helpful for you, and that you've found a couple of ideas or two that you can implement into your business or practice that will increase your profitability. So thanks for listening today. Next week, the show is going to be on what gets you going. And these are going to be things that you're going to need for motivation. So I'd love to hear back from you, maybe some questions or feedback, good feedback, constructive feedback, some ideas for future shows. Eventually, I'm going to start interviewing people along the way. I figure after a few months of just me educating and getting you to know who I am and what I'm about, then I'll definitely be bringing on some guests. So reach out to me on any of my social channels. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. They're all at Bella Financial Group, or my name, Marcia Reiner. Or you can hit me up on my website, bellafinancialgroup.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. You won't want to miss those future ones. And please make sure I'm not the best kept secret in Orange County. Share this podcast with your friends. And remember, if you follow me, I'm offering you a great thank you gift. Right now, it's a free 30-minute strategy session individualized towards you, where you'll walk away with at least 2 solid ideas that you can implement in your business right now to increase your profits. So don't forget, catch Profit with a Plan on your favorite players. I'm now on Podbean, iTunes, iHeart, GooglePlay, and Stitches. I'm looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. And until then, make plans and profit with it.